There are many people who have come here. They're having troubles with Portuguese, as I'm sure you're well aware of. You're probably more in touch with the community than we are. But we realized that, for that to break through, big steps need to be made. So that's why, Maria and I, and this is mostly her project, to be fair, decided to create an intensive 1-month boot camp, so that people can really, it's not a matter of, hey, let's just have a certain number of lessons and then you just basically pay for a Portuguese lesson and you're kind of like in group hangout and you're having fun and speaking a bit of Portuguese here and there. And then years go by and you're like barely better than you were when you began, right? Of course, you always improve a little bit. So what the idea behind this is that it's going to be an intensive 1 month. It's going to require an average, we estimate about 30 to 60 minutes per day. The way it's going to work is we'll give you a calendar, and each day of the calendar, there will be, as it's right there, there will be speaking, then you'd be reading, then you'd be writing, or rather, you'd start with listening, of course. This is also geared towards beginners, like somebody who doesn't know anything about Portuguese, or they know little about Portuguese. I'm sure that people who are already in Portuguese will still benefit from this because it's going to be, very custom. And another thing is that we're going to prepare audios so that each week, as you're doing something, as you're driving, as you're doing the dishes or whatever, the idea is to put that audio in the background. Mm-hmm. So you start immersing yourself and you're getting in on it. So you're doing work, you're, watching TV or whatever, maybe not watching TV, that will be a bit confusing, but you're doing something, you put that in the background on a loop, so you get used to it, and then that audio will then get analyzed and studied. And it's also broken down so that each week will kind of be a different topic, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe going grocery shopping or booking an appointment or something. I'm not going to tell everything here, right? So people who sign up will see everything it has to offer, and we're going to have many bonuses. There will be people there that, some people here know. We also have group sessions on Friday. But all this to say, I told you everything, what it's going to be, but our focus is on the results.
Yes. Well, that seems to be the big difference. That seems to be the big difference. It's not as if there's a shortage of ways of learning European Portuguese. I mean, there is no shortage of resources. And it comes back to what you were talking about before, I think, about mindset and accountability. That you could say is missing from the discussion about learning Portuguese, is, more about the psychology and the mindset, and definitely about, okay, let's do this and let's have a bit of accountability. And this is where I'm cutting and pasting this from the resources you've sent me, or the explanation behind the new course that you and Maria, or mainly Maria, are creating for us here. I listen to my clients and students' requests and pains, the pains especially, I suspect. That's it. Either we commit or commit. One or the other, which basically means commit. No more excuses. I don't want to dedicate 9 months, said one. I just want to learn to know the basics. I think that's a very common pain or request. I don't know what to do or where to start. Where can I learn European Portuguese? So you've come up with a formula. You, me, and 14 other people. That's Maria talking here, isn't it? You, me, and 14 other people pushing each other. Accountability group. So it's not for people who are just tum-ti-tum, I'll have a little go at this. This is for people who really want to do it and will hold each other to account with this. Definitely missing from the European Portuguese tuition scene. 1 30-day calendar, 5 days a week of exercises from listening, writing, grammar, and speaking, reviews, feedback, and accountability on the exercises above. 1 online group meeting per week, and you'll be mastering the basics, survival verbs, and everyday scenarios. So I'm liking the cut of this. She goes on to say, this is what you need for the course, and this is how much it's going to cost for people to get involved. It's 100% commitment, as you said there. Don't do it if you don't intend to throw yourself in it, right?
Yes. This
like
is
joining a health
definitely
club.
Yes.
This is definitely meant. If you want to take a decision, take a deep breath, take a big sprint, boost your Portuguese, and then later on, if you want to take another one, you'll take another one. But this is meant really to push you to the next level. Get you out of the place of complacency and comfort. And I can share my personal experience with this, right? So when I was starting to learn Chinese, right, I've been doing Duolingo for a little while and all of those, select the right answer and whatever. And okay, I started understanding a few things. Then one day, I met this lady on Facebook. She's a Chinese teacher, and she also is developing one of these really intense Chinese courses. And she was offering a 5-day free boot camp. And I was like, hey, I'm going to try it out. Why not? For the entire 5 days, I felt like I was drowning and trying to breathe with a very thin straw, right? Because on the first time, and keep in mind, I knew next to nothing about Chinese. I hadn't really practiced listening or speaking or anything like that. And the first thing she tells me to do is she wrote me like 3 or 4 pages of my self-introduction as a real estate agent and whatever, words and characters that I never seen in Chinese. And I had until the next day to read all of it and send it to her in voice. Wow. Now, it was very painful throughout the whole time, very uncomfortable. Again, I felt like I was drowning the entire time, but I was so much better at Chinese when I ended it.
But this isn't going to be quite as intense. I mean,
I don't think so. No, Maria is a bit softer. That is true. But if we feel like people are not behaving, we're going to pull out the whips as well.
Are you?
Maybe on a future one. But the idea is still is to push you just beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't matter what we do. All we care about is that at the end of the course, you either tell us, thank you so much. My Portuguese is a lot better. I understand conversations now, and I can converse basic communication with people. Or you tell us, hey, you know what? I don't feel like I improved. I'd like my money back, please.
And will you give them their money back, or just give them a complaints book?
As long as they work. Okay. So if
make them ask for it in Portuguese.
You've got to ask in Portuguese.
Yes, of course. That will be another requirement. Yeah. No, but every day is gonna have homework. You can take the weekends off if you want, of course, but every day is going to have a homework, provided you do at least 90%, and you did not improve your Portuguese. Then yes, we will give you your money back.
Very good. Okay. I'm liking the sound of this. It's not for everyone. Okay. And I guess you'll be carefully qualifying people who you think won't be.
The spots are limited. So at the moment, we're sharing. I believe this is the first time we really go public with this announcement. So people here get dibs on the first spots. Right. I don't know if you want to share the link in case anybody wants to.
I will do that. And I'm tempted, but I don't want to get my butt kicked. But I could be talked into it by other people who want to do it.
Sure.
Shoulder to shoulder, rather than face to face. I will. Well, it'll be both. Won't it? It'll be face to face and shoulder to shoulder. This is what Maria is saying. I will be your Portuguese resource for 30 days, and I promise you that if you follow my guidance and go all in, you will know how to survive speaking in Portuguese. I will be launching this challenge online in the next few weeks. Thank you for the scoop on this, by the way, Vitor and Maria. I wanted to let you know first, feel free to share if you know someone that would benefit from this challenge. This beginner 30-day challenge is set to start on the 29th of April. So we've got a couple of weeks and we'll have the celebrations of the Carnation Revolution under our belt, and it will end in the last week of May. And there better be a good party at the end of this. The requirements then are 100% commitment, as we said, internet connection. Obviously, you need to get online to be able to do a lot of this, and presumably, by phone as well, smartphone and internet connection. And for the princely sum, it sounds like quite good value to me for 4 weeks. 25 euros a week thereabouts is just a little bit more than some people are paying for an hourly lesson with somebody. I think if
per hour.
Some people are paying 20 euros, aren't they, for a one-to-one?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I mean that's the idea here, right? So we wanted to make this a little bit more accessible, because again, this is for beginners, right? We want to, of course, we're a business. We need to make money. We need to pay our bills. We need to feed our daughter, our 3 dogs, cat, and 2 chickens. But we also want to feel like we're helping the community, right? And the reality is there are many people who still struggle with Portuguese. Ooh, 50 quid.
Actually, 50,000 rupiah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have 50,000, Vitor, towards all of that you just said. It's worth about €2.91. I looked it up last night, but it sounds like a lot. Sorry, I interrupted you with
no problem. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So if this gets people's foot in the door, then we'll do the next course for 20,000 or something. We'll see. We're still debating numbers. But yeah, I mean, it's to get people started, to give them a place to launch off of, and then we will see where we go from there. If we make another course, if we keep the same price, lower, raise, or if we make it online on demand, which isn't as effective, because the most important thing really is the accountability.
Absolutely.
It's people keeping on top of each other, because we are terrible at keeping promises to ourselves, right? You say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to make that video. But I don't really feel like it today, right? And I mean, what's going to happen? Come on, man. You can take a day off today.
That's right. And that can be part of going back to the sort of, men's shed thing, that it can be gentle, can't it? The encouragement, or sometimes a bit of ball busting can be useful, especially if there's something you want to achieve. And I've been here for nearly 7 years, and I would have expected my Portuguese to be a lot better than it is by now. And the reason for that is what you've just said, is because I haven't, I haven't committed and applied myself in the way that is possible and that would get results. So well done on doing this. Like I said, I think it is missing from the scene, this level of accountability. And it's not going to be for everybody, is it? It's not going to be for everyone who wants to.
No, I don't think so. No.
Going on. But for those who really want to make some progress, I think it's ideal.
Yeah. And I think some people just, want to learn the basics, but they're not really interested in really knowing how to speak Portuguese, which, I understand. Everybody's different. Like nowadays, it's becoming easier and easier to not even need to speak another language. Like even YouTube now, they're developing. I don't know if I should be saying this or if my friend had to sign an NDA to do this, but basically even YouTube now is working with an AI that you upload your videos, audio to that AI, it will dub and translate and subtitle the video in your own voice in another language that you don't even need to speak. I don't know about other phones, but even the new Samsung Galaxy S24, when you make a phone call, you can turn on automatic AI translation. The person on the other end of the line will say, hey, this call is going to be translated by AI. And so let's say you go to, I don't know, China. We're talking about Chinese, right? You don't speak Chinese. You call a taxi driver. And then you speak in English, Portuguese, whatever. It will translate to Chinese. The other person will hear Chinese. They will reply in Chinese, and you'll hear it in your language. This is already existing, by the way. This is already happening.
I mean, this is what Paul was talking about last week, the Mind Kettle, is it? With simultaneous translation with an earpiece. Time kettle. And what a world that would be. And is that a privilege or an entitlement? It's really weird, isn't it? It's a real privilege. It's an absolute privilege to have that level of technology going on. And it just seems a little bit like a cheat as well, doesn't it? Not doing the hard work from which great benefit can come as well. But very interesting.
Would you like to hear my thoughts on that, or are we running out of time?
No, you and James. Let's kind of wrap up now on that note.
Right. So wrapping up on that, when you're talking about cheat or whatever, and particularly when AI came to the scene, and I saw a lot of people complaining about taking out jobs and whatever, here's what I think.
Yeah.
I believe that the greatest human strength is our imagination and creativity. So what happens is that a lot of people have settled in doing physical labor and manual labor, and I'm not putting that down at all, and I know how much effort it takes, but the human body really is best used, for the creativity, coming up with ideas, solutions, new things, expression. And so any tool that would allow us and free us from doing the physical labor so we can use our minds more, in my opinion, is a good thing. I personally love learning languages. I love learning cultures, so I will keep doing that. But there are things where, maybe we start using technology instead of us more so that we can be more productive. Like, having this contacts in here instead of in a phone book. If I need to make a phone call to you, instead of memorizing your number or going through pages and pages and finding the letter C, I just type in here the Muffin Man, and
is that what you call me behind my back?
No, it's not. Right. I think I have it as Carlos Munson, but yeah,
very
you know
good.
What I mean.
So and you can just say to your phone, can't you? Call Carlos, and the phone says which one. I've got 3.
Yes,
Carlos.
And then it phones a random company it found on Google. Yes, but
yes.
Call João.
Call João. Oh, I'll do it myself. Forget it. Right. Thank you, Vitor, for your insight on that. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll do that again in a month's time or thereabouts. And good luck with the new course.